If you are hearing these words, know this. It is no mere coincidence. It is resonance, an echo of your soul that has awaited this call for so long. Before we venture together into the most sacred of places, into the Holy of Holies, you must make your choice. Your like is not simply an expression of approval, it is a clear declaration of your intent, your first step on this path. And a subscription signifies your willing enlistment among those who tirelessly seek truth, who dare to look beyond the ordinary. Today, we shall lift the veil from one of the most deeply buried secrets, revealing a truth that they have meticulously hidden behind the colorful screen of daily news, behind the impenetrable curtain of accepted history. This truth is simple, yet no less dreadful. The world as you have come to perceive it is but an artfully constructed facade, a meticulously crafted stage for a grand drama, a drama enacted by beings whose true motives stretch far beyond your current comprehension, beyond all that you have deemed possible. This is not merely a conspiracy theory. This is a conspiracy against your very consciousness. At the heart of this grand conspiracy lies an almost forgotten ancient art, the art of reading past lives. This is not merely about superficial readings, but a deep dive into true archives, imprinted in the very depths of reality. What is striking is that this knowledge is corroborated by the predictions of the one whose name has become synonymous with insight, Edgar Cayce. Yes, that very Cayce, whose astounding dreams and visions revealed the destinies of entire nations and individuals long before these events were etched into the annals of history. His rich legacy is not just a collection of vague prophecies. It is, rather, a set of keys that unlock an understanding of the deep cycles governing human civilization, and, more importantly, reveal who truly holds the unseen strings of control. We speak of hidden world leaders. No, not those we are accustomed to seeing on screens, delivering loud but often empty speeches. We are talking about those who operate in the shadows, whose unseen decisions shape the very course of events, whose names rarely appear in headlines, but whose colossal influence is felt everywhere. Edgar Cayce, through the prism of his numerous mystical sessions, revealed striking parallels between eras. He spoke of souls who, having passed through countless incarnations, retain certain unchanged archetypes, certain roles they play again and again, changing historical backdrops. Imagine the leader of a nation, currently at the helm of state, might once have been a valiant general, leading brave troops through the heart of fierce combat. Or perhaps their life's journey led them to serve as a priest, performing sacred rituals in the shadowed depths of an ancient, mystery-filled temple. Then again, they could have been a simple craftsman whose single, brilliant idea ignited an inevitable chain reaction of momentous change. Edgar Cayce, the seer of his time, maintained that souls destined for great power and significant influence often traverse numerous incarnations, each carefully preparing them for that exalted role. And it is not mere chance that certain families or entire dynasties preserve their authority and might across many centuries. This, in his view, is the natural outcome of deliberate, though sometimes unconscious, karmic programming. In one of his key readings, which some researchers claim even pertained to one of the presidents of the United States of America, Cayce described him as a soul who, in a distant past, perhaps in the era of ancient Egypt, held the high office of chief priest. His primary duty was to maintain the delicate balance between the earthly and the divine realms, and to interpret the will of higher powers for his people. This invaluable experience, as Cayce emphasized, forever shaped his natural inclination towards authority, his unceasing drive for order and solid structure, and a peculiar touch of mysticism, carefully concealed beneath a flawless mask of rationality. But here is another far less obvious example. Imagine a powerful industrialist, a name now synonymous with technological breakthroughs. But in his past lives, Cayce saw this same soul as a Renaissance Italian artist, an artist whose masterpieces adorned not only grand cathedrals, but were also imbued with profound symbols, hidden messages reflecting the spiritual truths of his era. This man, according to Cayce, retained an unquenchable desire for creativity, for building, though his focus had shifted from fine art to the material world, from spiritual pursuits to the realm of technology. The longing to leave his mark on history manifested in a different form, but the underlying drive remained the same. These are not mere invented theories. They are echoes of collective memory, etched onto the finest planes of existence. Cayce spoke of a book of life, where every soul, every incarnation, every thought, and every action finds its record. And those gifted with foresight can read this sacred book. He saw souls, much like the one that once belonged to Alexander the Great, returning to Earth to play out the same roles, facing the same temptations, but within an entirely new life context. The recurring patterns woven into the fabric of history, the succession of wars, tumultuous revolutions, periods of flourishing, and inevitable decline, are not blind chaos, as it might seem. Instead, they are echoes of past decisions, karmic reverberations unfolding on the grand stage of human civilization. Edgar Cayce, the seer of his era, indicated that many of those currently in pivotal positions are souls who have already tasted power, borne the burden of responsibility, learned the harsh lesson of war and the longed-for peace, experienced creation and the bitter tang of destruction. They are not simply people who have found themselves at the top by chance. They are seasoned actors, stepping back onto the stage to play their destined roles, often acting unconsciously, but guided by a deep, inherent memory of what they have done before. Consider for a moment those who today actively promote globalization, who strive to establish a singular world order. Edgar Cayce traced the origins of such aspirations to past incarnations. In those times, souls had already made attempts to forge unified empires, to bring disparate peoples under a single banner, whether it was the mighty Roman Empire or the ancient, time-worn civilizations of the East. This is not a manifestation of malicious intent or a pathological drive for total control, as it might appear at a first superficial glance. Rather, it is a desperate, almost instinctive attempt by a soul, remembering the horror and pain of disunity, to find a path to universal peace and true harmony through the establishment of order, even if that order is imposed from without. It is at precisely this point that we arrive at the most captivating and profound aspect of this observation. Cayce wasn't merely documenting the past. He saw within it a key, a guiding thread towards the times to come. He spoke of how, in our current era, a spiritual transformation of unprecedented scale was unfolding. Souls that for millennia had played the roles of oppressors or the oppressed, supreme rulers and subservient slaves, were beginning to awaken. They were remembering their true, original nature, their divine spark hidden within the depths of every being. This certainly does not mean that world leaders, whom we are discussing, will all of a sudden, without exception, turn into saints. No, not at all. But their past lives, their karmic tasks, their unique accumulated experiences, all of this now becomes available for their awareness, and this, undoubtedly, can lead to a great, all-encompassing change. Those who in former times were associated with wars and destruction now gain the opportunity to become peacemakers. Those who have strived for absolute power and control their entire lives may now begin to seek different paths leading to freedom and self-expression for others. But there is another, darker side. There are souls long accustomed to the subtle game of power, to skillful manipulation, to the feeling of superiority over those they subjugate. And these souls have also found themselves here, in our world. Their past experience, their behaviors honed over years. All of this could only intensify in the conditions of modern information chaos. They ruthlessly exploit our deepest fears, our vulnerabilities, our disunity to maintain their power. They are the very shadows on the cave wall that the great Plato once spoke of. Deceptive images that make us believe in a distorted reality. That inexplicable anxiety that suddenly grips you in the middle of the night when the clock strikes 3, that strange feeling of alienation when you look at the faceless passers-by on the street, that oppressive sense that something is fundamentally wrong in this world. All of this is not depression at all. It is your soul gasping for air in this artificial matrix. It is your own inner voice crying out about the glaring discrepancy between the illusory reality carefully crafted for you and the true, undistorted nature of existence. Cayce, our wise mentor, spoke of how now, more than ever, it is vital to understand these subtle yet profoundly significant cycles. He sensed that the present moment heralded a time of great, fated choice, a choice between continuing the game, guided by ingrained old rules, or awakening to a completely new reality. A reality where each of us finds power and becomes the true architect of our own destiny. And now we approach the very heart of this mysterious ritual, the moment of great inversion. What if all these monsters shaking the world, be they wars, unending crises, or devastating pandemics, are merely fleeting shadows dancing on cave walls, obscuring the true light? What if the real tyrant holding us in its tenacious grip is actually looking at us from our very own reflection? What if all those events that they strive so hard to present as external, uncontrollable threats are in fact merely a reflection of what is happening deep within ourselves? The universe does not punish humanity. She heals. She burns away the poison of fear, ignorance, and blind materialism that has so long shackled our souls. She performs the most complex cosmic surgery to remove a tumor that threatens the death of an entire galactic system. Around her, a crown of fragile, weightless glass, like a reflection of your ego, desperately clinging to the illusion of control. Metallic veins, a cold, soulless system where profit is placed above human life, all of it merely skillfully woven illusions designed to keep you in eternal captivity. Prophets foretold not a solitary savior who would come and fix everything. They saw an entire army of awakened souls united in their pursuit of truth. They saw you. You are not merely a tiny part of a grand prophecy. You are its living fulfillment. Your past lives are not a heavy burden, but a priceless treasure trove of accumulated knowledge and experience. Every day you have lived, no matter what it was, becomes an invaluable lesson learned by heart and mind. Edgar Cayce was not a soothsayer predicting the future. He was one who unlocked the potential within each of us, demonstrating that we ourselves possess the power to rewrite the script of our lives simply by awakening to our true essence. Those who hold the reins of the world today are souls tempered by trials, who have walked through countless life paths. And now they face a choice: to continue following familiar, outdated roles, merely deepening the veil of illusion, or to awaken from their slumber and direct their accumulated experience towards creating a new, brighter reality. And you, listening to these words, are an integral part of this grand process. Your life, every choice you make, your growing awareness, all of it holds immense significance. You are not merely a pawn moved on the board of someone else's game. You are a full-fledged player, capable of fundamentally changing the rules themselves. Now that the veil of ignorance has been lifted from your eyes, inaction is no longer an option. Your like is like a blinding flash of light, piercing the vast expanse of the network. Each repost you share is a seed, carefully sown amidst sleeping minds, awakening them to life. Your subscription is a silent yet steadfast oath of loyalty. And if you feel ready to step forth into the unknown, our inner circle will serve as your reliable operational base, a place where we will act in unison. Of course, your super thanks is the vital energy that fuels our shared flame in this ongoing battle against the encroaching darkness. Until our next encounter, maintain clarity of thought, stay connected, and never, do you hear, never stop asking questions.